You want me to do that? We're live.
We're live now?
Yes.
Have to give me some warning. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jita Parakamanam Shri Guru Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Stam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vidamscha Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Jai Shri Guru Gaurachandra Ki Jai Jai Shri Guru Gaurachandra Ki Jai Jai Shri Ram Navami Mahamahotsava Ki Jai Haribo Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Pari Pujakacharya Shri Shiva Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Pari Pujakacharya Astater Sri Shiva Srila Bhakti Rakak Sri Gari Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Welcome to Sri Chaitanya Charitamrta Mission morning class. So today is Ram Navami. So I'm going to first, of course, read Sri Caitanya Charitamrta, and we can, where are those Upadesamrta printouts?
Here.
Oh, good.
You want more?
Well, no, I'll read from the book, but we can chant those, and then we can hear something about the glories of Sri Ramachandra.
Yes.
Which you'll hear again, of course, at the program. And Leela, is Leela here? Leela?
She's on a Zoom.
On a Zoom.
On a Zoom.
Oh. A Zoom.
I don't know.
Haribo, Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya, Jai Nityananda, Jai Advaita Chandra, Jai Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya, Jai Nityananda,
Jai Advaita Chandra, Jai Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Chapter 25 of the Madhya Leela. Jai Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Ki, Jai Srila Om Vishnupad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki, Jai. We're in text 143 of this chapter in the 5th volume of the Madhya Leela. The residents of Varanasi become Vaishnavas. Haribo. Artoyam Brahmasutranam Bharatartha Vinirnaya Gayatri Bhasya Rupo Shao Vedata Paribrinita Parananam Samarupa Sakshad Bhagavatodita Tradasha Skanda Yuktoyam Shatavicheda Samyutaha Grantostada Sahasra Srimad Bhagavatadita. The meaning of the Vedanta Sutra is present in the Srimad Bhagavatam. The full purport of the Mahabharata is also there. The commentary of the Brahma Gayatri is also there, and fully expanded with all Vedic knowledge. Srimad Bhagavatam is the supreme Purana, and it was compiled by the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his incarnation as Vyasadeva. There are 12 cantos, 335 chapters, and 18,000 verses. This is a quotation from the Garuda Purana. So this is the praise of the Srimad Bhagavatam, and we should all understand this. Sarva Vede Tihasanam Saram Saram Samudritam. The essence of all Vedic literature and all histories has been collected in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So I'm going to ask a question now. The essence of all Vedic literature, the essence, and all has been collected in
The Srimad Bhagavatam.
the Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam was collected by the incarnation of God, Vyasadeva, and was later taught to his son. Who is the son of Vyasadeva?
Sukadeva.
Yes, Sukadeva Goswami. This is a quotation from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Text 146. Sarva Vedanta Sharang hi Srimad Bhagavatam Ishate Tadvasamrita Triptasya Nanyatra Syadarthi Kvachit. Srimad Bhagavatam is accepted as the essence of all Vedic literature and Vedanta philosophy. Whoever tastes the transcendental mellow of Srimad Bhagavatam is never attracted to any other literature. This is a quotation from the Srimad Bhagavatam 12th canto. Gayatira arte granta arambana satyam parang sambandha dhimahi sadhana prayojana. In the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, there is an explanation of the Brahma Gayatri mantra. In the beginning, the absolute truth, Satyam Parang, indicates the relationship, and we meditate, Dhimahi, on him. Indicates the execution of devotional service and the ultimate goal of life. Satyam Param Dhimahi. So again, Mahaprabhu is stressing Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojan, and all of those things are indicated by this explanation of the Brahma Gayatri given in the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the beginning of the Bhagavatam. So here's that verse. Janma dasya yaton vayaditaratas charte shrabhigyan swara tene brahma hridaya adikavaye muhyanti yatsuraya tejo vari mridam yata vinimayo yatra tishargo mrisha damna svena sada nirasta kuhakam satyam parang dhimahi. O my Lord Sri Krishna, Son of Vasudeva, O all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. I meditate upon Lord Sri Krishna because he is the absolute truth and the primeval cause of all causes of the creation, sustenance, and destruction of the manifested universes. He is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestations. And he is independent because there is no other cause beyond him. He's not dependent on anything else because he's the cause of everything. It is he only who first imparted the Vedic knowledge into the heart of Brahmaji, the original living being. By him, even the great sages and demigods are placed into illusion, as one is bewildered by the illusory representations of water seen in fire or land seen on water. Only because of him do the material universes, temporarily manifested by the reactions of the three modes of nature, appear factual, although they are unreal. I therefore meditate upon him, Lord Shri Krishna, who is eternally existent in the transcendental abode. Now there is another abode, that is transcendental and eternal, whereas all of these illusory things are coming and going. And that abode is forever free from the illusory representations of the material world. I meditate upon him, for he is the absolute truth. So Mahaprabhu has established to Prakashananda Saraswati, the former leader of the Mayavadis in Varanasi, and he's saying that the absolute truth is indicated in the Srimad Bhagavatam in the very beginning, in the Sambandha, Abhidaya, and Prayojana are all there. And then this is the, and then he's establishing the Srimad Bhagavatam as the ripened fruit of the Vedic knowledge given by Vedavyas himself. And this is the opening, that verse is the opening, it is before verse 1 of the Srimad Bhagavatam, it's the invocation of, he's just establishing everything right there in the beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Any questions? Dharma prochita koitavatra paramo nirmatsaranam satam vedam vastavam atra vastu shivadam tap patrayon mulanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Kute Kim Va Pararishvara Sajjo Vidya Varujyate Trakutibi Shushubi Takshanat Takshanat, without delay. So this here is the verse, this is the second verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And this is very important. Completely rejecting all religious activities which are materially motivated, this Bhagavad Purana propounds the highest truth, which is understandable by those devotees who are fully pure in heart. Nirmatsaranam. They don't have any enviousness. The highest truth is reality distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all. Such truth uproots the threefold miseries. This beautiful Bhagavatam, compiled by the great sage Vyasadeva in his maturity, is sufficient in itself for God realization. It's the only book you need, in other words, of the Veda. What is the need of any other scripture? As soon as one attentively and submissively hears the message of the Bhagavatam, by this culture of knowledge, the Supreme Lord is established within his heart. This is a quotation from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 1st canto, 1st chapter, 2nd verse. And so this explanation is also given in the Adi Lila. Any questions about that? Krishna Bhakti Rasa Swarupa Sri Bhagavata Tate Veda Shastra Haite Paramahatva. Srimad Bhagavatam gives direct information of the mellow derived from service to Krishna. Therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam is above all other Vedic literatures. I'm going to read that again. Srimad Bhagavatam gives direct information of the mellow derived from service to Krishna. Therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam is above all other Vedic literatures. It is direct. It is direct understanding of the relationship and the sweetness of the relationship between the Lord and his divine devotees. Nigama kalpataror galitam palam shukamukad amrita grava samyutam pipita bhagavatam rasamalayam muhuraho rasika bhuvibavuka. The Srimad Bhagavatam is the essence of all Vedic literatures. Who's writing this? Vedavyas himself has written these verses, who's given all the Vedic knowledge, everything conceivable and inconceivable, has been given in the Veda. Inconceivable means without having some interest in that. But he is writing these verses. The Srimad Bhagavatam is the essence of all Vedic literatures, and it is considered the ripened fruit of the wish-fulfilling tree of Vedic knowledge. It has been sweetened by emanating from the mouth of Shukadev Goswami. You who are thoughtful and who relish mellows should always try to taste this ripened fruit. O thoughtful devotees, as long as you are not absorbed in transcendental bliss, you should continue tasting the Srimad Bhagavatam, and when you are fully absorbed in bliss, you should go on tasting its mellows forever. And so when Srinivasacharya, it was Sri Gadadhar Pandit was always reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam to Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu, the Supreme Lord himself, was relishing the Srimad Bhagavatam. And his tears had washed away so many of those words. Haribol. So, now I think I'm going to just stop here quickly because we want to save some time. Oh, I didn't get the Brihad Bhagavatamrita. Can you take that for me? You know where it is, right?
Yes.
So Mahaprabhu here in this chapter, actually, if anybody wants to, will read and study this chapter, he will understand very clearly how to defeat Mayavad philosophy, if he ever wants to engage in that kind of conversation. Of course, there has to be some sincerity there. Srila Gurudev, I heard him saying yesterday, don't give this kind of knowledge to someone who's not sincere. Don't bother. If they're not sincere, people don't want to be woken up. They're going to get angry for somebody who's trying to wake them up. Jai. Jai Sri Caitanya Charitamrta ki jai. Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj ki jai. Srila Om Vishnupad A. C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Now we can continue to read the Brihad Bhagavatamrita. We are now on chapter 3, text number 70, page 238. Excuse me. So now Mahaprabhu has been instructed by Lord Shiva, gone beyond the material world, beyond the Brahma Loka, quickly, the plane of that. He has come to Sarashiva Loka, which is it is beyond both the material world and the non-differentiated plane. But Lord Shiva has been giving him instruction. Narada, you need to go to Vaikuntha. There you will find great, great devotees of the Lord. Jai Srila Sanatan Goswami Pad ki jai. Jai Sri Rupanuga Guru Varga ki jai. Jai Sa Goswami Prabhu ki jai. Atabhinandana syasya Atabhinandana yasya Vaikunte gantumutita Api preta hare nokta Kare dritva nivaryasa. Then wanting to go visit Vaikuntha and personally offer respects to the goddess of fortune, Narada stood up. Seeing this, Lord Shiva took him by the hand to stop him. Lord Shiva then spoke. Commentary. From the words Narada was speaking and from how he turned his eyes upward, Lord Shiva could understand that Narada intended to visit Vaikuntha and personally offer respects to the goddess Mahalakshmi. By doing this, Narada would neglect an even better opportunity, which we will hear about right now. So it seemed very obvious decision to make after hearing the glories of Vaikuntha that he would go there. Shri Mahesh Uvacha. Who is Mahesh?
I don't know.
Lord Shiva. Uvacha means said. Krishna Priya Jana Loka Sukata Vihata Smrite Nakim smarasyad bhumau dvarakayam vasachasau. Sri Mahesh said, "My dear Narada, because of your eagerness to see the dearest devotees of Krishna, you have lost your memory. Don't you remember that the Lord of Vaikuntha is living right now on earth, in Dwarka?" Commentary. Narada is not to be blamed for being distracted by the glories of the Lord of Vaikuntha and his consort, because Narayan and Mahalakshmi are indeed the all-attractive supreme couple. But Narada could now see the same Narayan and Mahalakshmi without having to travel so far. Rukmini sa Mahalakshmi excuse me. Rukmini sa Mahalakshmi Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Tasya Angshavatara Hi Vamanadi Samipataha. Queen Rukmini is the supreme goddess of fortune herself, and Krishna is the supreme original personality of Godhead. Rukmini's partial incarnations accompany Lord Vamana and the other avatars of the Lord. So, all the different incarnations of the Lord who come, they are all accompanied by their eternal consort, the goddess of fortune, and all of those goddesses of fortune are expansions of Queen Rukmini, or Mahalakshmi. Commentary. In case Narada has any doubt that the goddess Mahalakshmi is appearing with Shri Krishna, Lord Shiva reminds Narada that she has descended as the daughter of King Bhishmaka. Still, Narada might raise the doubt that Sri Mahalakshmi never leaves the side of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayan. Lord Shiva answers this by quoting the assertion given in the Bhagavatam, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Krishna, as he appears on earth, is that original personality of Godhead. But why then is Lakshmi sometimes seen in the company of incarnations of the Lord, such as Vamana, the thousand-headed Mahapurusha, and Kapiladev? The reason is that the Lakshmis are avatars of Mahalakshmi. That original goddess of fortune, the dearest devotee of the Lord of Vaikuntha, has descended to Dwarka as Queen Rukmini. Sampurna paripurnasya Lakshmir Bhagavata Sada Nishe Vate Damboje Shri Krishna Syaiva Rukmini. Rukmini is the perfect, complete, divine consort of the complete personality of Godhead. She always serves at Shri Krishna's lotus feet. She's fully complete. Like the Lord himself is fully complete. She's the original goddess of fortune, not partial. Commentary. Because Shri Krishna is not a mere incarnation of Vishnu, but the source of all incarnations, Srimati Rukmini is equally supreme. She is the source of all the goddesses of fortune. In the perspective of Vaikuntha, of course, they are all expansions of Srimati Radharani and the Braja Gopis. But in terms of Vaikuntha, she is the supreme original Mahalakshmi. Any questions or comments about that? Tasmadupavisha Brahman Rahasyam Paramang Shanai Karnete Katayam Yekam Parama Shradaya Shunu. So sit down, my dear Brahman, and I shall whisper in your ear a great secret. Please hear this with absolute confidence. Commentary. He's saying, don't have any doubt about this. I'm telling you something very esoteric and deep. Since the original personality of Godhead and his original consort have appeared on earth, Narada should put aside his eagerness to run off to Vaikuntha and should just sit for a minute to hear what more Lord Shiva has to say. Nor should Narada run immediately to Dwarka, without first listening to Lord Shiva's confidential advice. Because what Lord Shiva wishes to say should not be heard by everyone, not even by his personal associates, Lord Shiva's personal associates. He wants to whisper it into Narada's ear, thus also avoiding the possibility of displeasing Parvati, who is a close friend of Mahalakshmi. So, now we are going to go to the next place, and in the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, this is the Brihad Bhagavatamrita is describing Narada's visiting different devotees of different calibers, and now Lord, having come to Sara Shiva Loka, Lord Shiva is saying, no. The pure devotees, the direct devotees of Lord Narayana in Vaikuntha, they are greater than me. And so immediately Narada stands up, having understood these things. Of course, he knows these things already, but having heard them again, and this is his divine pastime, to instruct all of us, he wants to run to Vaikuntha. Then Lord Shiva says that the Lord himself is right in Dwarka. He's with the original Mahalakshmi, Rukmini. And so now Narada is thinking, oh yes, I'll run to Dwarka. But Lord Shiva said, no, let me tell you something else. There is something, a better, even higher devotee for you to visit. Tvatato mad garuda ditascha shriyopi karunya vishesha patram praladeva pratito pralada eva pratito jagatyam krishnasya bhakto nitaram priyascha. There is a greater recipient of Krishna's mercy than your father, Brahma, me, Shiva, and other servants like Garuda, and even than the goddess of fortune. And he's whispering this because Parvati might not like to hear him say such a thing. His name is Prahlad. He is famous throughout the world as the dearmost servant of Krishna. Commentary. Do not expect to fulfill your intentions by visiting Dwarka just now, Lord Shiva is telling Narada. There is a devotee in this world even greater than the supreme goddess of fortune, and that is Prahlad. Before going anywhere else, you should visit him. Because Prahlad's devotion to the Supreme Lord is so deep, he is exceptionally dear to the Lord. He is greater than all the Lord's servants in Vaikuntha, including Garuda and Vivakshena and even Lakshmi Devi. So we will read about Narada's visiting Prahlad next Sunday. I'm just cutting it a little bit short because we want to talk about Lord Ramachandra this morning. And of course we're going to hear more about Lord Ramachandra later on at the program at noontime. But I want to give a basic understanding of the incarnations of the Lord, and we've been hearing about this, of course, from in the Sri Caitanya Charitamrta, and everywhere in the Srimad Bhagavatam also. There's so much description about the incarnations of the Lord, partial incarnations, and in the Brahma Samhita. Ramadi Murti Shukalani Amena Tishtan Nana Avatara Makarod Bhuvaneshu Kintu Krishna Swayam Samabhava Parama Pumanyo Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So all these incarnations, Nana Avataram, one after another, like Ramachandra, etc. They're all coming to this bhuvana, this world. But Kintu, Krishna Swayam, Krishna himself sometimes comes. The origin of all these incarnations. Krishna Swayam Samabhava Paramapumanyo. He is the Supreme Person. And he is the source of all these incarnations of the Lord. So, one of those incarnations of the Lord is Sri Ram. And he is with the goddess of fortune, whose name is? Who is accompanying Ramachandra? Sita Devi. She is also an expansion, again, as we've just been hearing, of Rukmini Devi, and her character is so wonderful, is so worshipable, and everyone is astonished to hear about the pastimes of Ramachandra and Sita. So Ramachandra is the Lord himself. He is Krishna. But Krishna is coming in many different forms, many different he's showing himself in many, I want to say costumes, but it is his play. But these are eternal forms of the Lord. And every incarnation, Srila Guru Maharaj tells us, every incarnation of the Lord has its own planet in Vaikuntha and above Vaikuntha. Actually, Ramachandra's planet, you can say planet, but we can't really conceive of what those planes are in Vaikuntha. But it is above Vaikuntha. But other incarnations have their planets, their four-arm forms, different planets in Vaikuntha. One are the Vaikuntha planets. And somebody was asking, Gurudev, and I've talked about this lots of times, but Srila Guru Maharaj asking, so then the pastimes of the Lord are eternal, and they have they also exist. They're showing their pastimes in the material world. They also have their eternal Vaikuntha planets with so many billions of inconceivably incredible devotees there. But what about, if their pastimes are eternal, then are the demons that they're killing also there? Or how does that work? And Srila Guru Maharaj says, well, no, they're represented there. They're represented there. Like if a man goes to war in a foreign country and he comes back, a war hero, then on his wall there may be a picture. There may be a picture of him in that heroic environment. So it's like that, represented, like sort of like you could say as a picture of maybe, Nrsimhadev killing Hiranyakashipu or Ramachandra killing Ravana. It's always there, but it's there as represented. So Ayodhya, the eternal kingdom of Ramachandra, is above Vaikuntha. And then above Ayodhya is Dwarka. So, how can we understand it? Ramachandra, first of all, he's in his human-like form, like Krishna is coming in a human-like form. Whereas the Lord of Vaikuntha is four-armed, so much opulence. And Ramachandra has his mother and father. So these are deeper relationships, and they are found in Ayodhya. So Ramachandra's mother is Kaushalya, and his father is Dasharath, King Dasharath. And he also, so these kinds of pastimes are there. He has his brother, Lakshman. So there's family relationships in the pastimes of Ramachandra. Hari Bol. And the pastimes of Ramachandra really are they're so charming. When they're playing the Ramayana, for whatever it is, how accurate it is, I don't know. But when it's playing on the television, they'll have the big series on television. From time to time, the whole country shuts down. Everybody's watching it. Just get your groceries in before it starts, because everything's going to close. Really, the pastimes of Ramachandra are very charming. And so we can imagine how much more charming the pastimes of Krishna are. So, Ramachandra was born the eldest son of King Dasharat. And Dasharat's kingdom was so opulent. Of course, it is divine. It made Lord Indra look kind of poor. Poor Indra. He's very, very opulent. And Dasharat was, Ramachandra is coming to show the dignified nature of a king. The best type of king. And that's not all he showed, but that is that. And Dasharat was so noble-hearted, so soft-hearted, and yet so brave, so strong, fearless. But fearless for what? Fearless for defending the principles of religion and making sure that nothing would disturb that in his kingdom, and conquering anything that would attack that. These are those great kings before. And he had 2 wives, Kaushalya and Kaikeyi. Maybe he had more, I don't know. But he had those 2 wives. And Kaushalya was the mother of Ramachandra. And Ramachandra is the heir to the throne because he was the eldest. And his complexion was stunning. It's the color of newly grown grass, and we know what that looks like because new grass is coming up now in the spring. Very beautiful color. And he was, from his appearance, was the charm and wonder and the cynosure of every heart of Ayodhya. He was the center of everyone's attention. All the citizens, everyone loved him from the very beginning. And he grew up very nicely, happily. And then it came time in Vedic culture, a man does not die at home. He leaves home before he's old, and he goes to the forest, and he performs whatever is necessary to totally fix his mind on the Supreme Lord. So it was time for King Dasharat to retire from kingly life and to make his son and the heir to the throne. Now, a long time before that, there was a battle, and Dasharat was fighting on the battlefield, but he was very badly injured. And his wife Kaikeyi entered the battlefield, and she nursed him to health. And for that, Dasharat told Kaikeyi, if at any time you want anything from me, I give you 2 boons. You can ask me for anything and I will fulfill your desire. And Kaikeyi had not asked for anything. But then Ramachandra was now going to become the next king. So the day before the inauguration, the maidservant of Queen Kaikeyi, whose name was Manthara, she came to Queen Kaikeyi and she said, and Kaikeyi was very happy, the whole kingdom was there. I mean, there was just a big celebration, everything was, all the streets were cleaned and purified and all the decorations, and the whole of the kingdom was mad with happiness that Ramachandra was about to become their king. And I forgot to mention that Ramachandra has 3 brothers, and Bharat, they're Lakshman, Bharat, and Shatrughna. They're his three brothers, and Bharat is the son of Kaikeyi. So Manthara came to, and she was the maidservant of Kaikeyi, so she did many things for her. And they have sort of a close relationship. And Manthara said, "Oh, Queen Kaikeyi, why are you so happy today?" And Kaikeyi said, "Manthara, what are you talking about? Tomorrow is the inauguration. Tomorrow, Ramachandra will be installed on the throne as the king of Ayodhya. How come? What are you talking about? Of course I'm happy. Everyone's happy." And Manthara said, "Oh, well, I know everyone's happy, but I don't know why you're happy, Queen." He said, "What are you talking about?" Manthara said, "You are so innocent. You don't see what's happening? Why is Bharat now at his uncle's house instead of here? He's been sent away. Ramachandra's plotting to kill Bharat when he comes back. He'll be the king, he'll have the whole army, and he will kill your son." And because Kaikeyi was not the brightest button in the box, she totally believed her for no reason whatsoever. Just some suggestion came into her mind and she's like, "Oh no!" She became overwhelmed with fear. She became completely fearful, although there was nothing that Manthara said which could possibly be believed by anyone. But fear is not a very auspicious kind of feeling, and it completely overwhelmed Kaikeyi's mind. So, terrified at the approaching death of her son, she went running to Dasharat. And entering the room of Dasharat, "Oh, my queen, I am so happy today." And yes. Kaikeyi said, "Do you remember you promised me 2 boons?" Dasharat said, "Yes, of course. Have you come to ask me for these boons? Ask me for anything. Ask me for anything." And Kaikeyi said, "Well, this is what I want. I want Ramachandra to be banished to the forest for 14 years, and I want my son, Bharat, to become the king." And Dasharat was stunned. He couldn't believe that she had asked for such a wicked thing. He said, "Kaikeyi, why are you asking for such a thing?" "That is what I want." And of course he had to fulfill her wish. It was a promise. And he fainted. He couldn't bear it. But then of course eventually he had to go to Ramachandra and tell him, "Ramachandra, my boy, your stepmother, Kaikeyi, wishes you to go to the forest for 14 years and that her son will become the king tomorrow. You will not." And Dasharat was overwhelmed, his heart was breaking. But Ramachandra said, "Oh, if it is your duty, if it is my duty to you, Father, that I will become king, then I will become king. And if it is my duty to you that I will not become king, then I will not. It is all the same to me. Whatever is my duty to you, I will fulfill it." And Dasharat, of course, explained that it was because of those boons that he could not refuse her. And Ramachandra immediately began to prepare himself to go to the forest. But of course, news spread fast, and Lakshman heard. The Lakshman came running to Ramachandra. "I'm going to go with you." No, Lakshman, not necessary. You stay here and help Bharata to rule the kingdom." No. "I cannot. I will go with you, and I will go ahead of you, and I will secure roots and fruits and edibles. I will make shelters, and I will find water in the forest. No, you must take me with you. I cannot bear your separation." So just as Ramachandra is an expansion of Krishna, so Lakshman is an expansion of Balaram. And Ramachandra, yes, okay, you can come. And then Sita Devi came. Oh my Lord, I cannot live here in this kingdom without your service. I cannot. Ramachandra said, Sita Devi, you cannot come and live in the forest. Your lotus feet have never even touched the earth. And there it will be very difficult. Life is very difficult. There's no shelter. There are wild animals, sometimes man-eating rakshasas are wandering in the forest, snakes and so many different kinds of beasts, dangerous beasts. And then we would live only in these little shelters from here and there. Sometimes we have to fast because there's no edibles. See, and the rules. Jai Shishi Guru Gaurachandra Ki Jai. And the rules of exile of this type of living is that you will be wearing bark on your body, not the beautiful dresses that you're used to. And Sita said, there's only one thing unbearable to me, and that is separation from you. If I have your service, I have everything. I don't care about all these other things. You must take me with you. And Ramachandra then agreed, yes, okay, you can come. He said, hey, you may bring your clothing. I cannot impose that upon you. And so they headed out the next morning. But when they were beginning to leave before sunrise, the three of them, the whole of Ayodhya was packed and ready to go. The entire city was going to go with Ramachandra to the forest. That's the kind of love for Ramachandra that was there. They all had their little bags and everyone was leaving Ayodhya. And Ramachandra, of course, addressed them, oh, my dear citizens, if you want to please me, if you want to give me some happiness, you must stay here and take care of my father. And help Bharat. Bharat is blameless. He will be a very good king. You must be good citizens to him. You stay here now. And they followed him from some time. And when he came to the river and they were going to cross the river, then he sent them all back. No, you cannot come. Go back. And then all the citizens of Ayodhya, heartbroken, weeping, falling down on the ground, just completely grief-stricken, had to turn around and go back to Ayodhya. Well, Ramachandra went across the river and headed toward the forest with Sita Devi and Lakshman. Everyone was just mad. And after some time, when they were in the forest, Bharat came, the son of Kaikeyi, because when he returned from his uncle's house, he said, Kaikeyi, where is my brother? Oh my mother, where is my brother? She said, no, don't worry, Bharat, you're going to become the king. I knew that Ramachandra was going to kill you when you returned. So I sent him away and you are going to be coronated. And then Bharat, shocked, said, proceed thee to hell, Kaikeyi. And he took his army and marched into the forest. And when they saw him coming, Lakshman was a little apprehensive. Oh, what is he doing? Why is he coming here with his army? And of course, Bharat jumped down from his chariot and offered obeisances to the lotus feet of Ramachandra and said, you come back with me. I don't care about this exile. I will never be king. I will never, ever be the king of Ayodhya. And Ramachandra said, no, you must. It is a boon that was promised by our father, if we do not uphold this boon, then his future will be very bad. We must do this. This is our duty. And then Bharata said, then give me your shoes. Give me your shoes and I will give you other shoes. And I will install your shoes on the throne. And I will live outside of the city in a little hut. And anyone who needs me, I will execute the duties of king on your behalf. But I will never enter the throne room of Ayodhya. Your shoes will be there, and I will worship them every day. They will be worshipped daily. And then Bharat returned to Ayodhya with the shoes of Ramachandra and installed them on the throne of Ayodhya. And it also gave great comfort to the citizens of Ayodhya that Bharat lived a very simple life outside of the gates of Ayodhya, and on behalf of Ramachandra executed all the duties of administration, kingly administration, in the absence of Ramachandra. And also when he went there and met with Ramachandra, Ramachandra asked about Dasharat, how is our father? And Bharat said, he has left the world. His heart broke and he left the world. And so so that is what happened in Ayodhya. But all the adventures of Ramachandra in the forest are all so wonderful, astonishingly wonderful. It's so many things. There was a witch, her name was Taraka, and she was always giving so much disturbance. And Taraka she was very powerful, and nobody knew what to do with her. And there were many, many things. When many mystical demons lived in those times. Mysticism was not an uncommon thing in the Satya Yuga, but also mysticism was available for demoniac persons. And there were many, many persons like that, and especially living in the jungle. So this is what Ramachandra was saying to Sita Devi. You don't want to live in... Of course, the great sages also lived in the jungle. And it was part of the king's duty to protect the sages from wild animals and those kinds of beings like Rakshasas, man-eating demons and witches and all kinds of creatures that would wander around. And they were very powerful. They knew mantras, they knew all these things, and they used them for their own purposes. So Ramachandra did many, many amazing things, but we can say they're amazing, but there's nothing for the personality of Godhead. To kill a witch? He's breathing out universes as Mahavishnu. It's nothing for him, but it's very charming. How the Lord is interacting with so many different personalities is very, very charming. And we hear about these things in the Ramayana. And actually they lived very happily in the forest. There's never any difficulty for the personality of Godhead. And they're eating fruits and the roots and berries, and Sita Devi's serving them, and Lakshman's running and getting so many different things. And of course it was all very sweet and wonderful. But the very main story, of course we'll tell more detail this afternoon, but the main story involves a person called Ravana. And Ravana is, of course, a Rakshasa. And a Rakshasa, they eat people if they can. If they can find a person to eat in the forest, they will definitely eat them. And so they were, really hideous. But he was very powerful. And he had 10 heads. this is an inconceivable thing, but by his mystic powers, he had 10 heads, and he had a boon that if any of those heads was cut off, it would grow again. So he was practically invincible. And he lived in Lanka. So Sri Lanka is now like Ceylon, but it is that island at the bottom, not Ceylon, anyway, the island at the bottom of India. And that was where he lived. That's where his kingdom was. And his whole city, the city of Lanka, was made out of gold. He was so powerful and so wealthy. And he just lived there with his Rakshasa family. But he had a very auspicious wife, actually. One of his wives was very, very auspicious. Her name is escaping me right now. But she used to give good advice to him. And there's not so much time left, but he had a sister named Shurpanaka. And Shurpanaka is wandering around in the forest. She just happened to be in this forest where Ramachandra was residing, Dandakaranya. Oh, not Dandakaranya? Anyways, that forest. And she's wandering around, and then she sees them. She's also a man-eater. And she sees Ramachandra and Lakshman, and they're just, the demigods cannot compare to the beauty of Ramachandra and Lakshman, what to speak of Sita Devi. And she saw them there, and she decided that Ramachandra should be her husband. There's no, that's me. So she changed her form. And she says, oh, beautiful one. I think you should marry me. You know, I practically own this forest. And you can marry me, and we can just wander around at will, and I'll get all your food for you, and, we'll be so happy together. And Ramachandra said, oh, beautiful. I don't think she did change her form, actually. That was Hidimba who did that. But anyway, Ramachandra said, well, I would. I would marry you, of course. But here's my wife, Sita, and I have vowed to have only one wife. But here's my brother, Lakshman. He's really powerful. Actually, he's more powerful than I am. And I think that you should marry him. So he's teasing Lakshman. And then she goes, oh, yes, you're very handsome also. And Lakshman says, no, he's just kidding. Ramachandra's way more powerful than I am. You really should marry Ram. So they're going back and forth and kind of teasing her. And then she gets really impatient. And so again, Lakshman's saying, you should marry my brother Ramachandra. He's the eldest. He's the heir to the throne. Why would you marry me? I'm only second brother. She goes, yes, I'm determined. I'm going to marry you. And then Ramachandra said, again, I would love to, but the thing is, here is my wife Sita. I can only have one wife. It is my vow. And then Shurpanaka becomes enraged, and she decides to kill Sita and solve this little problem. So she goes lunging at Sita Devi, and Lakshman sees her intention. He cuts off her nose with his sword. And Shurpanaka goes, ah! She goes running off into the forest, and she returns to Sri Lanka and to her brother, Ravana. And Ravana sees her screaming and her nose is gone. And he says, oh, my beautiful sister, what happened to your nose? She said, and then she tells him, oh, she's so angry. She says, there's this Ramachandra and his brother Lakshman. And his wife, Sita, is as beautiful as the heavenly damsels. She should be your wife, Ravana. So why don't you just go steal her and keep her for yourself? And immediately Ravana's thinking, good idea, good idea. And then Ravana's wife, I'll remember it later, but I can't remember her name, but she says to Ravana, don't do this. This is not a good idea. You cannot take her, and you've been cursed. You cannot take any woman by force. And she is the wife of this powerful person. This is going to be very bad for you in the future. But he couldn't. He was overwhelmed by the idea of having this beautiful woman. And so he ran away to go and kidnap Sita. But before he did that, this is going to be continued, by the way, later on in the day. Before he did that, he called for his minister, Marichi. Marichi, come here. Yes, yes, Ravana. And he was also a mystic. He said, I want you to help me with something. Yes? I'm going to go and kidnap this Sita, the wife of Ram, of Ayodhya. And I want you to think of some way to get Ramachandra away from Sita so that I can just take her without any problems. Oh, I forgot a part. There was a big battle also because Shurpankhar was also, she had her little army and they were all defeated. They were all killed. And they were also reporting back to Ravana. But anyway, he said, take the form of a deer, a beautiful deer, the most beautiful, charming deer ever. And when Sita sees you, she will want Ramachandra to bring you to her for a pet. But you run away and lure Rama away from Sita so that I can take her. And Marichi was thinking, okay, I've got two choices. If I do this, I'm going to be killed by Ramachandra, for sure. I will be killed by him. And if I don't do it, I'll be killed by Ravana. So I think it's better to be killed by Ram. Because those who are killed by the personality of Godhead achieve liberation. So I'm going to do it. And he did do that. He lured. So anyway, this is to be continued. And of course we know, everyone knows this story, but it is so lovely to hear it again and again. And we'll tell more about this later. Jai Shri Ram Navami Maha Mahotsava Ki Jai Shri Sita Devi, Shri Ramachandra, Lakshman, and of course Hanuman. And we will hear about Hanuman in the Brihad Bhagavatamrita in days to come. Jai Haribo. And this story, of course, was told by Valmiki. There are so many things to tell. Jai Sri Ramachandra Ki Jai. Jai Gurudev Ki Jai. Srila Guru Maharaj Ki Jai. Can I have the drum, Prabhu?
Yes.
And of course at the program we'll sing the Dasavatar song and the whole story. We'll tell the whole story. And it happens to be the Sunday program also, so that'll be wonderful. Hari Hari Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha.
Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha. Gopal Govindaram Sri Madhusudan. Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mokana. Chaitanya Nityananda Advaita Chandra Radha Shiva Sari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Rupa Sanatana Madana Gunata Shri Vijivagopala Machara Saragunata Jai Gosai Kori Charanavandana Yahote Vinanasha Vishwapurana Jai Gosai Jara Mohi Daravasa Dasavara Paladinu Mura Panchalasa Viracharana Sevi Bhakta Sarevasa Janame Janame Murare Abhilas Jai Gosai Jape Raja Koilavasa Radha Krishna Nitya Leela Purna Pradasha Anande Gaur Hari Raja Vrindavan Guru Vaishnava Pare Majai Jamana Guru Vaishnava Para Panna Goriyasa Hari Nama Sankirtana Kote Namadasa Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nitya Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitya Gaura Hari Bol
Jai Sapaka Shri Shri Guru Lord Chandradev ki
Jai.
Jai. Shri Giriraj Govardhan Ji ki Jai.
Jai.
Jai Vishnu Pranams Acharya Astatar Shri Srimati Shiva Bhakti Sundar Govind Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Jai Vishnu Pranams Acharya Astatar Shri Srimati Shiva Bhakti Sri Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Shri Rupa Anuga Guru Varga ki Jai. Shri Caitanya Charitamrta Acharya Vrinda ki Jai. Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur ki Jai. Shri Narottam Shamananda Srinivas Thakur Prabhu ki Jai. Sad Goswami Prabhu ki Jai. Saparshad Sriman Mahaprabhu ki Jai. Saparshad Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki Jai. Shri Ram Navami Mahamahotsava ki Jai. Shri Sitaram ki Jai. Jai Hanuman Ji ki
Jai.
Hari Bol. Shri Chaitanya Saraswati Mat ki Jai. Kaliya Shaka Mat ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Saraswati Mission ki Jai. Kol Kartal ki Jai. Hari Nam Sankirtan ki Jai. Samaveda Vaishnava Mandala ki Jai. Samaveda Bhakti Vrinda ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Hari Bol.
Bhima Krishna Prabhu is with